Cedric Titcombe, silkscreen worker here at Catprint, working along with Les, who is a secondee from Youth Force and is putting the finishing touches to a screen for a poster, which we'll show you later on. What I'm doing here is preparing to print this t-shirt with one of the 7 Courtyard Arts Trust cats. This one representing the media. This is a photocopied blow-up of the original design, which was only probably 2 inches high. And this is something more like the size that we want to print it on the t-shirt. The screen, which this is, has on it the 7 cats. This one here is the one we're going to print. You can see the line of it is paler than the background. The background is a varnish that I painted on. In other words, I had to paint it on by hand, painting out all those parts which we didn't want printed, leaving the mesh of the screen open, and this is what will get printed on the t-shirt. We will print it on the t-shirt by forcing the ink through the mesh. The ink, I'm printing in black on this t-shirt, white t-shirt of course. We mostly do posters here. We don't only do t-shirts. We're a community silkscreen workshop. That means that the users will come in to this workshop and produce their own posters or t-shirts. Under my guidance, I will tell them what to do, how to do it. Hopefully they'll have a design in mind. We're funded by the Commission for Racial Equality, initially for 1 year only. And this, coupled with the area in which the workshop is possibly reflected in the prints produced on the walls. First print we produced here was this one, advertising an evening of Indian dance, produced by the Courtyard Arts Trust in conjunction with the Gloucester Hindu Centre. A consistent user is a local Rastafarian group, who've printed a fair number of the prints you can see on the wall. This one of Bob Marley went into a run of several hundreds, which they're now selling. I'm putting the black ink on here, ready to print, and I shall print with the aid of a squeegee. Squeegee is a flexible rubber blade in a wooden handle, and this is used to drag the ink across the screen through the open mesh. If I can get Les's help to hold the screen down. Okay, we've got 7 cats on here. We have to be careful not to print any portion of a neighbouring cat on this t-shirt. So I'm doing it fairly slowly because of that reason. Fair amount of consistent pressure is needed to push the ink through the screen. Nothing back-breaking, but just a regular pressure, only to push through enough to stain the fabric of the t-shirt. I'm doing it several times because we want to make sure that enough does go through. And Les is holding it down to make sure that the screen doesn't move. If the screen moves, we'll get, in effect, a double image. It'll print more than once. Right, now for the finished t-shirt with on it the media cat. A simple production. Let's have a look at a more complex one. The t-shirt was printed in one colour using the stop-out technique on the screen, whereas this poster was printed in 12 different colours using a cut paper technique. Stencil technique that is similar to the one you would have done at school, where you cut holes in one piece of paper to correspond to the printed areas that you wanted to get on another piece of paper. We better have a closer look, I think, at this. This is the first stencil of the print you've just seen. The stencil printed, which was eventually printed in a pale, transparent blue. Now, using a craft knife, we cut holes in this piece of paper, each hole corresponding to an area of blue that we wanted on the final print. Here are the windows of the reflection of the warehouse. And this is a proof of that first stencil, the start of the final print, if you like. Here are the windows that I just showed you. This is the stencil for the second colour. We actually used 4 different blues on this print. Similarly, holes were cut where we wanted areas of this blue. Here is a shadow of the reflection of the warehouse. And here is the proof again of that second stencil. Of course, when we're actually in production, this colour would have been printed on top of the first one. This stencil again is another of the 12, and this is the yellow one, of course. Here's the rope that's attaching the boat to the quay. You'll notice on all these stencils, Explore Gloucester Docks was evident in white. This is because we stopped out the screen in the same technique as we did the t-shirt, so that the words wouldn't get printed, so that on the finished product, which we'll look at again, we have the lettering in white. There's the rope coming down here. There's the windows of the reflection of the warehouse, and here's the shadow of the second stencil. Now, it may look like a complicated process, but it isn't really. It's logical. If you do it one stage at a time, one colour after another, you will end up with an eye-catching result like this. As I said before, this is a self-help community workshop where users would mostly be coming in to produce their own posters, although we do other things. Side by side, Les here is working on the screen. What are you doing, Les?
I'm doing a poster, a BMX poster for the kids' column.
All right, you're remaking a screen, yeah, because we've already printed some of these, but they want some more. We don't keep the screens. We have to remake another one. And over here we've got Rupert Mackenzie, a local artist, who's produced most of the Rastafarian posters that you may have seen earlier on. And he's working on this one now, which is, would you like to tell us, Rupert?
This poster is the Lion of Judah carrying the Ethiopian flag. And in the process of making the last screen, which will be black, giving a background and details.
And you're doing these to sell?
Yeah, of course, to the rest of the community.
Good. Rupert's been mainly an oil painter, shall we say, and he's been working over here for about the last 2 months. How have you found working here?
Well, at first it seemed complicated, but once you see the steps involved, it's just the same as painting or any other type of artwork where you build up from scratch to get a finished product. I found it quite easy.
So it's logical, but it's straightforward?
Yeah, it's straightforward, but not to look at. It looks complicated.
Right, as you've seen that before. So if you or any group that you know would like to use the facility here, that is, come in and produce your posters or your t-shirts, please call in to Charles Street, the Cat Print Workshop, or ring us on Gloucester 416 158.